From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Facing higher labor and production costs, dairy producers are turning to technology for solutions.
If you don't sit there and keep up with times and technology and things, it'll leave you behind.
We'll take you to a Texas dairy where robots rule. Land prices were red hot in 2022 as the market started to cool. As Mother Nature finally helps out some producers in need of moisture.
We've just been so blessed.
An update from one area trying to battle back from drought right now on AgDay.
AgDay, presented by Pioneer. What's next happens when the name on the cap matches the power of one's purpose. Pioneer, what's next happens here.
Good morning, I'm Quentin Griffiths. Improvements in drought conditions are leading to better news about the crops. And one place where that is evident is Nebraska. Take a look at the latest drought monitor for the state. It shows more than 48% of Nebraska is still in drought, but that's down 4% from the previous week. AgDay's Michelle Rook joins us. And Michelle, areas of the state seeing some much needed rainfall, at least 2 inches recently.
Yeah, as a result, crop conditions have improved in Nebraska, with 63% of the corn crop now ready to get to excellent, up 13% on the week. 55% of the soybeans ready to get to excellent, a jump of 12%. And while more rain is going to be needed to break the drought in Nebraska, at least the outlook has improved in areas like the Southwest. Farmers in southwestern Nebraska hit hard by drought last year are starting to see some signs of hope. For Tracy Zink, some snow cover over the winter and more timely rains this spring and to date are starting to make a difference.
I think when you look about our moisture status right now, we're probably a full profile. And we didn't start that way. We were down a good 20 inches maybe when we started, but now I think we're down 3-4 foot. We've just been so blessed.
Last year, her pivots ran most of the season, but this year they've gotten a welcome break.
A lot of our pivots haven't run for irrigation purposes. They've run to reactivate the herbicide. And I was just looking back through my pivot book, and the interesting thing is it's about a 6-inch thing. Every line had rain. Rain, 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 rain. And I just took a picture because I don't know if I'll ever see that again.
However, Zink says in an area that's typically moisture challenged, they're still holding their breath.
When I look at the drought monitor, we still have just a little bit of red that comes right up to the edge of my farm. And so, we're still not feeling out of the woods.
So they'll need cooperation from Mother Nature during the reproductive stage of the crops and the rest of the season to reach even average yield potential. I'm Michelle Rook reporting for AgDay.
A storm that dumped 2 months worth of rain in 2 days is bringing more flooding across Vermont. Many communities are marooned by high water. A dam also threatening to overflow just upstream from the state capital of Montpelier. The slow-moving storm caused flash flooding in parts of Vermont and New York, and rivers are threatening to overflow in Connecticut. And while the rain is finally leaving New England, there are better chances for rain in the plains and Midwest. Meteorologist Matt Engelbrecht joins us with more.
Yeah, starting to wrap up some of the heavy downpour in the Northeast. We're unfortunately not going to be done with that either. By Friday, maybe even this weekend, more rain on the way. Now, different story to answer the question that you just posed. Back out here towards the west, we're going to see streaks of downpours coming through. And much like we've seen this season, more localized heavy downpours rather than a little bit of rainfall over a large area. So once again, between our Wednesday and Thursday morning, you see more streaks having to do with the showers or the thunderstorm chances rather than a broad area receiving a lot of rainfall. But certainly need some through Illinois, Wisconsin. We'll get another round of probably 2 or 3 showers that will start back up here to the northwest, and then thunderstorms working down to the southeast. Again, there's through Friday at 6 a.m. a couple of streaks bringing maybe a ½ an inch to up to about 3 inches of rainfall, especially underneath some of those stronger thunderstorms. There's looking at the precipitation estimate. Now, I also wanted to go ahead and take a look what you have on your screen there. You got to continue to keep an eye on the wheat harvest that's underway. Steve sending this one in South Dakota says this crop is coming soon to a bakery near you. Harvest in the state starting to pick up pace, now 9% complete, which is slightly ahead of average. I'll have more on your average high temperatures coming up in just a bit.
Idaho dealing with an outbreak of Mormon crickets and grasshoppers, and now it's providing assistance to producers in several counties. While the insects are native to southern Idaho, officials with the Idaho State Department of Agriculture say parts of the state are experiencing pest pressure beyond a typical year. They say they can cause serious economic losses to rangeland and damage to plant growth and seed production. Now, the agency says it has received over 182 requests for assistance, a 62% increase over last year. The areas of greatest concern are in red on this map. The department says it has distributed more than 76,000 pounds of insecticide bait to qualifying landowners already this year. There are a lot of negative numbers in the latest U.S. Ag Trade update for the first 8 months of the fiscal year. U.S. exports for October through May totaling just over $128.5 billion. Now, that's 5% below the same time a year ago. USDA officials say that's due to a downturn in bulk products, which are down 8%.
Exports of wheat for October through May were $4.5 billion, down 4% from the same time last year. Corn exports were $9.8 billion, down 30%, and cotton exports were $4.6 billion, down 20% from last year.
But soybean export values were still 8% higher than a year ago. Volumes were down 1%. It's taken some time, but there is officially a new Deputy Agriculture Secretary at USDA. The Senate confirming Xochitl Torres-Small to the post on Tuesday. The nomination approved by a vote of 84-8. Now, she's been serving as the department's Undersecretary for Rural Development since 2021 and will replace Jewel Bronow. Bronow stepped down from the job earlier this year. Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack applauding Torres-Small's approval, saying, quote, "I have witnessed her lead with energy, authenticity, and personal investment that I know will leave an impact on USDA for years to come." The National Milk Producers Council releasing its own statement from President and CEO Jim Mulhern. Quote, "Her rich family heritage in agriculture as well as her career in public service in Congress and at USDA will bring valuable perspective to the position, and we know she will bring great insight and energy to her new role." Torres-Small has also served as a representative for the state of New Mexico. She's the granddaughter of migrant farm workers. Ag commodities rally across the board on Tuesday. We'll tell you what's driving those markets coming up next. And this Texas dairy farmer is using technology to step up his game on the farm. Now, robotic milkers are helping transform the farm in the country.
AgDay is brought to you by Farm Shop MFG. Did you know that 20% of stored corn is often overventilated by 3 points of moisture? On 100,000 bushels, that's a whole semi-load. Stop this problem for less with the End Zone for Corn by Farm Shop MFG. Specially priced at $2,100 per unit while supplies last.
Is the red-hot farm real estate market finally starting to cool? Farmers National has just released its mid-year land values report. It says the market entered a period of de-escalation starting in the fourth quarter of last year. It reports the trend has continued into the first half of this year, with fewer properties being offered for sale and market values that are dramatically off the pace that was seen in the first half of last year as interest rates rose and inflation kicked in. Farmers National says the growth in price paid per acre is still positive across the Midwest, which you can see on this chart in light green. But those increases are now in the single digits instead of the double digits seen in 2021 and 2022. It says looking ahead to the second half of this year, it's anticipating strong competition for high-quality land that's up for sale. Soybeans extending their gains on Tuesday, and that spilled over into corn and wheat. Michelle Rook is back with more insights from Arlen Suderman in Markets Now.
Tuesday's market closes higher in the grains. Arlen Suderman with StoneX Group joining us. And Arlen, gearing up for the WSDA report coming up later today. Soybeans, we've built a lot of bullishness into this report. How much have we built in and how bullish could this really be?
Well, soybeans are zero room for error right now. And in fact, if we see the yield come down below trend levels, which I think there's a real good risk that that'll happen now with the stress we put on it in June, we're going to probably have to do additional rationing of demand. Some of that's being done for us because China's been buying up a large surplus of Brazilian beans that they will be able to use this fall rather than leaning on U.S. beans to quite the extent that they have been. They'll probably have an extra 12 million metric tons of soybeans or so that they can reduce us, but they're still going to need some from us. So I think some of that work's been done, but the market probably has more work to do. Remember, the job of the soybean market is also to try to encourage Brazilian farmers to increase acreage. And for that, they need to maintain those prices at profitable levels, probably into the September, October timeframe when those planters are running in Brazil.
Now, conversely, how bearish could the corn number be, even if we do see USDA cut yield?
It can be quite bearish depending on when USDA comes to reality on some of their demand estimates. Now, I don't think they're going to do that for quite some time, maybe even 4 to 6 months before they start lowering their demand estimates for the new crop. I do think on the old crop, they're going to start cutting demand some more. Exports will come down some more. I think ethanol will come down a little bit more. I do think feed usage, though, will go up, and we will eventually, probably in September 30th, see them shrink the size of last year's corn and soybean crops.
But you do think they'll come down on yield in this report? They haven't since 2012.
They don't like to do that until NASS gives them a yield estimate in August. But in order to solve for an ending stocks that isn't really bloated over 3 billion bushels, I think they'll go ahead and reduce yield in this report. I'm right around that 177 area for this report.
Okay, we'll see what kind of fireworks we get later today. Thanks so much for joining us, Arlen Suderman with StoneX Group, and that is Markets. Now we'll have more AgDay coming up.
Contact Arlen Suderman by email at arlen.suderman@stonex.com.
As we talked about last couple of days, the heat continues to build, and this is going to be the case going into the weekend as well, through Texas, Four Corners, and into California, with possibility of some record high temperatures towards the end of the weekend and next week. Pocket of cooler air continues to sit back up here towards the north into Minnesota and northern North Dakota. That is going to be kind of the focal point for our showers and thunderstorms to work away from back down to the south and to the southeast, much like what we just looked at a little bit ago. So again, those temperatures will continue to warm up back down to the southwest and then cool, staying cool back up here to the north. In between the two extremes, on Friday, that's where we have our highest flooding potential, about 15 to 40% chance of some heavy downpours into Missouri, as well as southern Illinois, Indiana, as well as into Kentucky and Tennessee. Again, that's on Friday. As we shift this into Saturday, typically we see the highest flooding potential move with the system, but with where we are, things are pretty stagnant. So rather than move to the east coast, this actually grows back here towards the west. And again, we're separating the coolest air back up here to the north from the hottest or the warmest air back down here to the southwest. And there's our boundary that could set up some showers and some thunderstorms going into the weekend on Saturday. So overall, that jet stream is just another way to see the exact pattern that we talked about. The cooler air back up here to the north, hottest air with this ridge back down here to the southwest as the pocket of cool air starts to move and the warm air starts to move and meanders. That's where we start to set up that different location for some of our heavier showers across the nation. So by Wednesday and into Thursday, we'll again start to see that shift back down here more to the south and across Tennessee, Kentucky, southern Illinois, and Indiana, right along that gradient. What this looks like through our Thursday and into our Friday, more pockets of showers and thunderstorms, not really a lot of coverage with the rain, but where it comes down, there's the potential there for some heavier storms. Ocean City, Maryland, mostly sunny, high around 95 degrees. Ann Arbor, Michigan, got some showers in the forecast, high around 73 degrees in the Wolverine State. And then Benson, Minnesota, sunny, high 87 degrees.
Registration is open for the 2023 Pro Farmer Crop Tour, August 21st through the 24th. Attend one of our nightly meetings or join online as we gain insight on the 2023 growing season. Visit profarmercroptour.com/register to select the stop nearest you.
Exports of U.S. pork continued to gain momentum in May. The U.S. Meat Export Federation tells us, in fact, that May pork exports were the highest in 2 years, reaching more than 261,000 metric tons. Now that's up 16% from a year ago and the 9th largest on record. Export value also climbed 12% to more than $731 million, also the highest since May of 2021. Pork variety meat exports, they set a value record of $127 million, while May exports to Mexico were well above last year, while shipments to Taiwan were the largest in 12 years. Now it says May beef exports, they were lower overall, down 14% from May of 2022, and export value was down 19%. And a strike at 2 big Canadian ports is causing severe disruptions to the country's pork industry. The strike that has now entered its second week is taking place at the Port of Vancouver and the Port of Prince Rupert in British Columbia. It was initiated by the International Longshore and Warehouse Union in Canada. The 2 locations are responsible for handling a quarter of Canada's total traded goods and is impacting both exports and imports. The Canadian Pork Council and Canadian Meat Council are calling on leaders to give the same protections to perishable ag products as grain in the British Columbia port strike by making pork an essential service. Also impacted potash shipments. Nutrien, which is a significant potash producer, says it has reduced output at one mine due to the strike. Speaking of big jobs, dairy farming is also a big job. Up next, we'll see how this Texas dairy producer is utilizing robots to keep the milk pumping on the farm in the country. Milking cows can be a labor-intensive undertaking on a dairy farm, but many farmers are turning to robotic milking to help save on labor costs and make their farms run more efficiently. The Texas Farm Bureau recently visited one producer who's helping in the rise of the machines.
My name is Scott Veith. I'm from Windthorst, Texas, and I'm a 3rd-generation dairy farmer. My parents started this dairy in 1972. I bought in with them in 2001, and the rest of the farm from my dad about 5 or 6 years ago. My parents started it, and it was 60 cows, and now I'm currently milking 550 cows. Dairy's huge. It's probably the centerpiece of this community here in Windthorst and the Scotland area. This was founded by German settlers, and dairy farming was what they did. You know, that's been a big part of this community. And we, at one time, I think we've had almost maybe 100 dairies. Now we're down to less than 30. It's kind of sad to see some of that go over the years. Dairy industry is really a competitive industry, and if you don't sit there and keep up with times and, you know, technology and things, it'll leave you behind. What makes my dairy farm unique is I have 9 Lely A5 robots that I installed. The reason I went to the robots is because my old parlor was getting old and outdated, and I was wanting to get more innovative. And genetics is a big thing for me, and I wanted to get my genetic potential out of my cows, and I felt like the robots would give me that best option. We're getting 95 pounds of milk right now, and my old parlor would probably be at the mid-80s and stuff. It's 24 hours a day, and they can come in as they want. The cow comes in, the brushes come on to clean the teats. Disinfectant goes on the brushes, cleans them again. The laser reads the teat placement and then milks the cow. And then the whole time it's dropping little pellets of grain. About the average is 7 to 8 minutes per cow. As soon as each quarter's done, it'll come off that quarter. Once that cow's finished, it sprays the teat dip on the cow. It'll open the gate and let the cow go out, and the next cow comes in. Right now I'm making about 5,500 gallons of milk per day. Every cow gets milked at least twice a day, up to 5 times a day. To maximize efficiency, we try to keep around 60 cows per robot. We try not to get below 9% on free time with these cows. If you get over 15% free time, you're able to probably add more cows to your operation. So putting in the 9th robot, we'll be able to add another 60 cows to this barn, and I can maximize this 100,000 square foot barn to its potential. As they walk in, they come in with these collars. The collars are essential for the robots. It has all the information it needs. And what I really like about it is if a cow's sick or if a cow's in heat, it'll automatically put them in the separation pens. It'll read the chip and it'll know how much grain it's going to let that cow have for that particular milking. I think the biggest benefit of this type of technology is sometimes you may have human error, and it eliminates that. I can go to computer at any time of the day and look at when a cow is having any kind of problems or issues. Well, I went to school, I got a degree in finance. I was kind of at that fork in the road. couldn't see myself sitting behind a desk my whole life. I asked my dad, this is what I wanted to do because this was my passion, and he understood that, so he let me buy in. And you know, I'm a single dad. I raised my kid, and just the way of growing up and raising a family is huge. Not many jobs you can just bring your son and work with you and learn a lot of things, and so that means a lot to me.
And our thanks to the Texas Farm Bureau for sharing that story with us. And that's all the time we have here for Ag Day. From all of us, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day out in Farm Country.